Hi, I'm Emily, Partnerships Manager at Webinterpret.
And I'm Ekow, the Global Partner Lead at eBay Advertising.
And today we'll be talking to you about how you can boost your sales with promoted listings with Webinterpret.
So we'll get a bit into what promoted listings is in a second, but Emily, maybe you could give everyone a quick overview into who Webinterpret are and what they do.
Of course. So not everyone's probably aware. So Webinterpret is an eBay Gold solution provider that specialises in boosting sellers' sales and visibility on international and domestic eBay marketplaces. So for the last 16 years, we have provided a range of services that support the entire global selling journey that drives international and domestic sales growth for sellers. These services are internationalization, marketing, shipping, and returns.
So to put a bit of context, in our partnership team at eBay, we grade each partner for gold, silver, bronze, and that will depend on one, the availability of their product features, and secondly, the commercial growth they provide to our partners. And Webinterpret being a gold solution provider means they're one of our top recommended partners at eBay. So that's what Webinterpret are. Emily, maybe you could tell us a bit more about why we're here today, which is to talk about how to boost ad sales through the peak period. Do you have any stats or any kind of insights into how customers behave during peak periods like Black Friday or Christmas?
Yes, I have a few statistics to share. So if we just start with the fact that actually more people are holding off spending to wait for deals, 63% said they're delayed buying something to get a discount on Black Friday, which is up 3% from the previous year.
Okay, that's interesting. So what that means for our sellers is you might have seen a slight drop in sales in early October or late September, but it might be that that's due to your customers anticipating sales dropping or special offers come the end of November or towards the Christmas period.
Yeah, exactly. And more Black Friday actually comes from impulse purchases. Only 1 in 3 intend to spend in Black Friday, but then over half actually do buy, and this gap is widening over time.
So this is partially why we're here today, I guess, with more people spending in a fashion which is more prone to impulse buying in the Black Friday period. It's a great time to advertise, right? It means that people are coming to channels like eBay not intending to buy something potentially, but open for sellers to advertise and to promote their listings and offers to them.
Yeah, so ultimately they're getting that inspiration from the advertisements. So that's why it's really crucial that you do promote your listings.
Sure, is there any other stats you've got?
Yeah, so Black Friday is more important for younger shoppers. So 48% of Gen Z say they're holding out for Black Friday to make their money go further, versus 12% among 65 and above.
Which I think answers a question which a lot of businesses have is, how can I make sure that I'm getting as much conversion rate, as much click-through on my ads? One of the things we'd recommend looking at statistics is making sure that your advertising has very clear copy which shows that there's offers or sales available. So showing there's a percentage off or X pounds off or X euros off your offers is really important, so that buyers are aware that there's actually an offer available on your site, because in this period that's what people are going to gravitate to, that's what people are going to be clicking on. So making sure that's really clear in your ads is crucial.
Yeah, and just to add to that point where you're saying that people are looking for offers, actually younger shoppers are looking at deals at lower price points as well. Over half of 35 and below are actually looking to spend less than £100.
Okay, so you have items that are, in terms of advertising, you have items that are below that £100 price point. Again, a great time to push those types of items.
Yeah.
Cool.
So now that we've gone through a few statistics, it would be great, Ekow, if you could actually just let the audience know exactly what promoted listings are and how they help.
So promoted listings help your items stand out amongst billions of listings across eBay and be seen by millions of active buyers, increasing the likelihood of a sale. Promoted listings is available for your international listings via partners such as Webinterpret, and also for your domestic listings. Promoted listings standard is eBay's cost per sale advertising tool. This drives sales through high visibility placements across the eBay network. Sellers here only pay when their promoted items are sold, and the amount you pay is determined by the ad rate which you set. An ad rate is the percentage of your item's total sale amount that is charged when a buyer clicks your general ad and purchases any of your general promoted listings within 30 days. And then we have promoted listings advanced, which drives sales with priority access to placements across eBay. With promoted listings advanced, you have access to advanced controls such as daily budgeting, keyword targeting, and bidding options to help your ads reach buyers. Promoted listings advanced uses a cost per click model, meaning you're only charged for clicks on your ads. So that's what promoted listings is as a suite. When it comes to Webinterpret, which is one of our earliest and one of our first partners who have integrated promoted listings and have that available to all eBay sellers, how do you recommend your sellers setting up on promoted listings standard and promoted listings advanced?
Yeah, so which campaign type you will use will depend on your advertising goals, as well as items that you would like to promote. So what Webinterpret is doing is we're guiding you depending on your objective, whether that be brand discovery and awareness, traffic and visibility increase, or ultimately sales conversion. So on which campaign model to use. So we're currently developing a new tool that is activated during onboarding in the dashboard. So sellers just have to answer a few questions, and Webinterpret will advise you on which campaign model you should use based on your answers. So we're really tailoring that for you. So there are three: moderate, growth, and booster, that we can put you into those categories. And then depending on which category you are in, will depend on whether we suggest promoted listings standard, promoted listings advanced, or both of them together.
That's awesome. So what you've done at Webinterpret is you've looked at the purchasing funnel and you've developed a solution that, depending on what the point of contact's goal is, if they want to boost awareness, the interest, consideration, or the purchase, you can recommend what campaign to set up, whether promoted listing standard or advanced, to reach that business goal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So I understand that you set sellers up in terms of using Webinterpret for promoted listings, but what is the main USPs after setup? Why do you find sellers are using Webinterpret and not using another partner, or not even using eBay Direct? Why are sellers coming to you?
Yeah, so obviously promoted listings in general is really important. So during the peak season, buyers are relying on sellers to inspire them and help them find the right gifts. Promoted listings helps drive visibility and grow your market share. But what's really important is promoted listings standard and advanced with Webinterpret offers several different advantages than ones available on eBay and with other partners. So with Webinterpret, everything is managed through one unique interface, allowing you to gain top visibility with items promoted across international and domestic marketplaces. So this includes promoted listings standard and advanced. So you'll have all markets in one place, which will ultimately make it so much easier for you to manage.
Okay, so whereas on eBay, if you're managing promoted listings, you have to log out, go to another market, see the view of your promoted listing campaigns on that market, and then switch to another country. With Webinterpret, they have all the markets available on one dashboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Why? Anything else? Do you find sellers say of why they use Webinterpret for promoted listings?
Yeah, so it's definitely an effortless solution because everything is automated for you, which will allow you to achieve maximum sales uplift with minimum ad spend, which is really important. So fully automated solution from campaign creation to cost optimization. And we also maintain complete control of ad costs and directly optimize your campaigns based on your budget. So there's a high performing item section, as well as campaign adjustment with recommendations on daily budget and site optimization. We also do have that expert knowledge, being in the industry for years. We've managed promoted listings for millions of items internationally, meaning you'll benefit from our expert learnings at scale.
Yeah, so I just want to call out that high performing item selection. I think one of the challenges that some sellers face is what listing should I promote, what listing shouldn't I promote? And you have a section in your platform which automatically recommends to sellers which items are performing the best and which ones they should boost with promoted listing, which is really important because especially with promoted listings advanced, you're paying for every click, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be quite efficient with which listings you're recommending, and you ideally want to recommend listings that are performing well already.
Yeah.
So you can leverage that high performing item feature to boost your already performing sales. Cool. And then in terms of when it's set up with Webinterpret on promoted listings, do you advertise all items on promoted listings? How do you determine which items you select?
Yeah, so obviously we don't advertise all your items. So we do have a marketing solution where we'll advertise all eligible products we promoted. So firstly, let's start with promoted listings standard. So these listings need to be fixed price, a buy it now item. Listings need to be in one of the categories that actually support promoted listings. So we do have a couple of categories that don't support this, which are real estate and motors. So the listings as well should not already be promoted. So items can only be included in one campaign at a time.
Sure.
Then with promoted listings advanced, we fetch your entire inventory and evaluate for the highest potential when deciding which items to promote, just as our AI does with markets. So we select those items with the highest sales potential for promotion and exclude those with low potential.
Okay, cool. So let's bring it back to peak now. There will be sellers that watch this that will set up promoted listings with Webinterpret. How do you recommend those sellers measure whether their campaigns have been successful or not?
So we do have 4 key metrics that we use to measure the success. So the overall sales increase being the first. Then we have number of items sold from the promoted listings. Your total return on ad spend. So this is the value of the incremental sales you receive for every euro, dollar, or pound spent on advertising. It's a key metric to measure the performance of your cost per sale campaigns. Lastly, advertising cost of sales is a key metric to measure the performance of your cost per click campaigns. It shows the ratio of ad spend to targeted sales. So a good seasonal best practice here is really to increase your promoted listings standard ad rate and promoted listings advanced daily budget before the high period. So you should really do this as soon as possible to take advantage of peak season and maximizing your campaign success.
That's really clear. So in other words, when we look at that peak season, looking at our advertising spend, we want to look at number 1, what is the sales increase in terms of revenue? Number 2, how many items are selling? Number 3, the return on advertiser spend as opposed to ROAS, which is looking at for what I'm spending, how much I'm getting back. And then lastly, that advertising cost of sales, also known as ACOS, which is a widely used metric amongst other channels as well. So you can use that to compare your ACOS on eBay to the other channels to see which spend is most efficient for you. Cool. So hopefully you understand a bit more about using Webinterpret during peak with, using promoted listings during peak with Webinterpret. We now have a few questions from people that have used Webinterpret for promoted listings before that we can clarify today. The first is, a seller's found that their listings aren't being shown in their promoted listings campaign with Webinterpret, but are present in their inventory with eBay.
Yeah, so we get this question a lot actually. The most common reason is that they're already being promoted directly through your eBay account, and items can only be promoted through one promoted listing standard campaign at a time.
I've got it. Okay, perfect. Then in terms of launching a campaign across different markets, does the seller need to accept the terms and conditions for each marketplace, or is there like a one box to accept for everyone?
So there isn't a one box. So for each marketplace you wish to activate your promoted listings in, agreeing to the terms and conditions for that specific marketplace is required. So without this approval, we can't launch your promoted listings campaign.
Definition. When someone sets up promoted listings on Webinterpret, how do you determine what ad rate percentage is applied to the listing?
So you can manage your ad rate percentage directly from your marketing dashboard using the Webinterpret's ad rate manager. So our recommendation is to either select the Webinterpret recommended ad rate or the eBay recommended rate. So the Webinterpret recommended rate option is actually a new option available. So this is alongside the eBay recommended rate. Webinterpret's recommendation is based on the current trending ad rate for the specified market and other factors in the products being promoted for the campaign. This allows you to take the guesswork out of ad rate management and ensures your listings remain competitive in your domestic and international marketplaces. Alternatively, what you can do is you can manually set your ad rates based on your own preferences.
Perfect. So there are three options. They can either use eBay's recommended ad rate, they can use yours, which I guess gives for a good A/B test, or they can manually set their own depending on how they look at their costs and determine what's best for an ad rate.
Yeah, exactly.
What about if they have certain listings that they don't want to be advertised?
Or to just be excluded. So we have an exclusion of items feature that allows you to control which items should not be promoted in your ad campaigns. So in the event you don't want to promote all of your items.
Okay, so simple as that.
Yeah, as simple as that.
Perfect. And last question, why do some of the enabled markets, so it looks like a seller here is click the box, the terms and conditions to enable promoted listings in a certain market.
Yeah.
But they still aren't seeing an active promoted listings advanced campaign in those markets. Why would that be?
Yeah, so what we actually do is we'll evaluate each enabled market's potential against your budget and decide what best campaign opportunity is for a successful outcome. If some of the markets you initially selected do not have a promoted listings advanced campaign, it means that we found that there was an insignificant value in opening this market for advertising.
Got it. And that ends our questions. And thank you for your time and listening to our webinar today. So to summarize, this is Webinterpret, our gold recommended partner, who we do recommend to use for promoted listings, especially during this peak period. Now, some of the benefits of using them is number one, as we said, you have the ability to manage promoted listings across multiple markets, all from one dashboard. The second is that automation. So they have a recommended quick setup, if you like, to start your campaign. And they have automated rules which you can set in terms of ad rate, in terms of your listings, to make sure that depending on what your business goal is amongst the purchasing funnel, awareness or purchase, they will tailor a campaign across promoted listings standard and across promoted listings advanced for you. Brilliant.
Thanks for summarising, Ekow. And then just for everyone that has been watching the webinar today, there will be a special offer and promotion available. So we will be in touch with all of those details shortly.
Perfect. Thanks for your time. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.